guys, it's Jessii Vee. So I'm wearing this shirt in honor of Stranger Things because I just finished it last night and I won't give any spoilers, don't worry. But honestly, like, I just get like really emotional about it, so let's not even talk about it. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about a kind of phenomenon, and you guys know how I feel about phenomenons. They don't always have to be about natural things, like things happening in nature. They could also just be anything about technology. There can be phenomenons about anything. So today we're going to be talking about a phenomenon that has to do with an arcade game. This game is called Polybius, and it is said to be the most dangerous arcade game in the whole entire world. This game is said to be an urban legend, but there is proof that people have actually played it and found it in arcades all over the world. This video really makes me like nervous because it seems so legit and honestly scares me. Especially because I think arcade games are so cool, and imagine like stepping into one day and just seeing Polybius and you're like, oh no, let's leave. So I'm gonna talk all about that arcade game in just a second. Before we get into it, this is the last video where I'm going to be mentioning the Running with Violet premiere because it is on Thursday, so literally like a day from now. If you're from Ontario, Canada, and you would like to come and meet me and see the cast walk the red carpet and sit in the same theater as me and watch the show, please get a ticket down below in the description. It's gonna be such a fun event and I honestly cannot wait to see you there. Not.
I want you to join my reading program at the hospital.
And it's just this one on the left?
I'm more excelling at the psychic vision thing. For example, I'm seeing this big, like, cloud over you.
Wow. You keep talking about your psychic abilities, so prove it.
I saw the image so clearly. Cold body. Okay, so let's get into this very nerve-wracking arcade game. So I'm not too sure how popular arcades are anymore just because people are playing so many... There's a truck that stopped in front of my house. Hello truck, what are you doing here? There's always just trucks in front of my house. It's no big deal. So as I was saying, so many people play PC games, console games, board games. I feel like all those things are sort of more popular now than arcade games are. But I mean, sure, there are like millions of people around the world who still go to arcades. I know when I was growing up, I was at them all the time. My dad used to take my sister and I, and we could spend hours in there, spending a lot of money putting the coins into the machine. So let's talk about the arcade game called Polybius. I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's either Polybius or Polybius. Either way, the name is really scary. So like I said, it's an urban legend about an arcade game that mysteriously appeared and then disappeared. So in the fall of 1981, a mysterious video game suddenly appeared in arcades around Portland. And what's really disturbing about this is that the staff who worked at these arcades had no idea how it got there. They never ordered it in, they had never seen it before. Basically, they arrived at work one morning and just saw Polybius sitting there and they were like, okay, we've never seen that before. This arcade game was basically a black box, and when you played the game, it was full of colorful geometric shapes. People said it was instantly addictive, it was hypnotic. Once you started playing, you found yourself being there for hours and hours without even noticing the time going by. And in a lot of the cases, it was very dangerous for some people. Now, there's no actual real-life pictures of what the gameplay actually looks like, but people say it's very similar to a game called Tempest, and Tempest is a real game around the world that people play. It came out in 1980 and it just has a bunch of different geometric patterns and shapes, and people are saying the game Tempest is just super similar to Polybius. Basically, kids kids everywhere were lining up to play this very addictive game. And what I find so upsetting and probably the creepiest part of this whole thing is that randomly these men in black suits would walk into the arcade and stand beside the game and watch kids playing it. They had these clipboards in front of them and they would take notes down as they watched the kids playing, and sometimes these men in black suits would later show up at these kids' houses to collect data on their experiences. So they would be like, so how did you feel while playing the game? So how did it make your mood change? They would just be asking very odd random questions. What happened next is also really creepy. Any person who played this game, Polybius, would suddenly start to experience all of these very odd symptoms. They would feel nauseous all the time, they would get migraines, they would have memory loss, nightmares, and the most upsetting symptom of them all that so many people were complaining about was the inability to become sad. So it was like they stopped having emotions at all. So people had this conspiracy that maybe this game was put out by the government to stop kids from playing video games because it was basically the game that made you sick. So a lot of the kids who played Polybius stopped playing games altogether because it kind of made them scared of all games. So people were wondering if that was like something they put out there on purpose because they wanted kids to concentrate more on their education, work, and not so much on video games. It says here, was it a secret government research program using gamers as unwitting guinea pigs? Is it part of a mind control program? What's very weird is that there were a bunch of teenagers who suddenly disappeared after playing this game. There was a guy who came out to the public and his name was Bobby Feldstein, and he claims he was abducted one afternoon when he was 14 years old after playing this game at a place called Coin Kingdom. So he said he was minding his own business playing Polybius. He started getting headaches and feeling really weird, and on his way out of the arcade he was abducted. He said he was led through a series of underground tunnels and was found the next day 60 miles from his house in the middle of a forest. So he had a ton of memory loss. All he remembered doing was going through these tunnels with these men in black suits, and suddenly he woke up the next day, far away from home. So that's sort of the government conspiracy part of this game, but other people around the world believe this game is actually paranormal in some way. Others portray the game as outright malevolent and possibly alive, with spooky details like occasionally not requiring coins to play. So usually when you play an arcade game, you have to put your money in first and then the game starts. This game would just start automatically without even requiring money. Even after it was unplugged or shut down, this game would mysteriously keep playing. But what makes this whole entire Polybius game theory so freaky is that a month after it came out, it suddenly disappeared everywhere. It was suddenly gone from every single arcade, and it was only there for a month's time. So this game theory just freaks people out all over the world because no one knows where it went, why it was there. And there are so many people online who have come forward about their experience playing the game. And there are also other stories about this game popping up in arcades even today. Like in 2019, it'll randomly show up all over the world in different arcades and suddenly disappear again. So let me know down below if you've ever heard of this game before. I know it came out, I believe it was in the 80s. So maybe ask your parents as well if they've ever heard of this game, if they've ever played this game before. Do you believe it's just an urban legend? Do you believe it's real and maybe it was some government mind control program or some whole testing thing they were doing? If you like me doing conspiracies about games, there are actually so many creepy ones out there of games you know and love, like Zelda, Mario, Pokemon. There are all kinds of game glitches and haunted games. So I can do a whole series on this if that's sort of the content that you guys like. Definitely let me know down below. But don't forget to get your Running with Violet tickets. It's coming up so fast, oh my gosh. But yeah, I hope to see you there, and I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!